Deputy John Hampton Coddou III passed away into the Lord's loving arms Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. John was born in Houston on June the 7th, 1973, and grew up fishing and hunting, which inspired his lifelong love of the outdoors. After graduating from Bel Air High School, John enlisted in the Army and completed basic training in Fort McClellan at the United States Army Post before being stationed in the 705th Military Policeman Battalion at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. After the Army, John returned to the Houston area and knew he wanted to continue serving in law enforcement. He pursued his career with the Harris County Sheriff's Office and began as a detention officer in 2003, became a Harris County deputy in 2005, and spent 13 years on patrol before becoming a deputy investigator in the Violent Crimes Unit. 20 years ago, John met the love of his life, Kathleen. As they dated and later married, John loved cooking for Kathleen because it was another way of expressing his love, giving his joy, and contributing to her health. He loved surprising her on special occasions with thoughtful gifts from his heart and planning trips that included comfort, adventure, savory foods, and relaxation. He loved taking care of her and all her possible needs and wants because in return it gave him joy and pleasure. John and Kathleen recently celebrated their 11th wedding anniversary. Kathleen's family gained a son in John, and he was as dedicated to them as he was to his own mom and family. John and Kathleen could often be found on a fishing trip with his mom and family, whipping up a kitchen specialty, experimenting with new gadgets and lures, and filling up the house with laughter and life. As a natural caretaker, John always wanted to help his family, his friends, people he knew, and complete strangers. With his capacity for compassion, his enthusiasm for giving, and his gift of gab, John made many lifelong friends and lasting memories. John ended his watch as he spent his life serving others. John is survived by his wife, Kathleen, and her family, his mother, Rose, and her husband, Jim, brother Chris, and sister Michelle, and family, and many in-laws, extended family, dear friends, and his HCSO family. He's preceded in death by his father, John Hampton Coddou Jr. You know, when I graduated from the academy, our academy speaker, John Matthews, said that the badge you're about to receive is not yours, it's ours. And what you do with it not only reflects on you, but it reflects on all of us. And it's in times like this that we're reminded not only what we do with that badge, but what happens to that badge not only affects that person, but it affects all of us. John exemplified again what it meant to be a public servant. And as we gather with heavy hearts and heavy spirits, there's a hole that's been created in our heart, and our faith tells us that the God of all creation is the only one that can fill that hole. And so family and extended family and friends, I just ask that you reach out and touch the one that can make a difference. Our faith and our confident expectation in the creator of all that we know and see expresses his love this way in John 14:27. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world does. Do not let your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid.
grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. The Lord has promised good to me. His word, my hope secures. He will my shield, my portion be, as long as life endures. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we'll have no less days to sing our God's praise than when we first begun. Oh, than when we first begun. Oh, than when we first
You know, our faith tells us the other day when John closed his eyes on this earth, he opened his eyes in a place called heaven to touch the very face of God. How does he continue to live in and around us is because we continue to tell John's story. And so just a little bit about John's story. We're going to call on the sheriff, followed by Investigator Ryan Hiltz, and then his wife Kathleen come in. So Sheriff, if you could come and share your heart.
To John's wife, Kathleen, to his mom, Rose, to his stepfather, his brother, sister, and all of John's family and friends, on behalf of the Harris County Sheriff's Office and everyone gathered here today, we extend our deepest condolences. And we give thanks to all the members of the community that are joined here today, from our community dignitaries to other partner law enforcement and first responder agencies, both near and far. We thank them for being here to honor this great man. Today we gather not for the occasion we all want, yet in these shared moments we celebrate and honor Deputy Investigator John Coddou III and memorialize the sacrifice he made that day. He was the example of a courageous man, cherished friend, devoted husband, dedicated colleague, loving son, and true servant of his community. He was a Harris County Sheriff's Office deputy, and he is a hero. Please let us rise and applaud the life of Deputy Coddou. Thank you. No other profession will give you as much or sometimes take as much. In the wake of recent tragedies, including the senseless killing of several peace officers in North Carolina, all members of a task force executed an arrest warrant for a wanted fugitive, we are reminded of the dangers in law enforcement of our profession. Every day, officers like Deputy Coddou and all of you face uncertainties, yet you uphold your duty to protect and serve. There are few undertakings so noble as the protection of your community. John did just that, dedicating his life to serving others, first as a proud U.S. Army veteran, and then a 20-year veteran of our agency. John began his career with us first as a detention officer, working on the correction side. He later became a deputy, working patrol in District 4, and most recently serving as an investigator in our violent crimes unit. We were truly blessed to have him in our ranks. He was a true leader and a beloved friend. Our agency is better today because he walked through our doors. Many of you worked alongside Deputy Coddou over the years, and I am sure you have fond memories of John, whether you served with him if you served with him while attending the academy, on patrol, or extra jobs with him, or you may have had the privilege of spending time with him as he enjoyed life outside of law enforcement. His impact extended far beyond professional accomplishments. We have all shared countless stories about John, his character, personality, sense of humor, ambition, and most importantly, his care and compassion for others. John had a passion for his community. He brought justice to countless victims and took the criminal element off of our streets. I had the honor and privilege of getting to know John. Both he and I spent some time in a leadership program. We were you remember that, Kathleen, the Leadership Development Institute. So we got a chance to really connect at a deeper level, because that's the purpose of the program, and really got to see the person that he was far beyond the badge. And there's so many amazing aspects to John, and I'll try to touch on a few things that I've heard here recently from some of his colleagues. We know he liked to fish and hunt. He loved being outdoors. He loved to travel with you and the family. I was reminded of a trip y'all had to Aspen when he was all suited up with all his gear. It was pretty cold. Y'all were ready to hit the slopes, but he wanted to make a quick detour because he wanted to go to the Aspen Police Department to exchange patches. You're smiling, you remember that, right? So he had to stop. So of course he was chatting it up with them, and he found out that the Aspen County Jail, if there's such a thing, was nearby, and he started talking to them. And he asked them, he goes, hey, well, what's your capacity? How many people can you hold here? And they told him 10. And so he kind of paused, that awkward pause, and was kind of waiting, like, 10 what? And he goes, just 10. And he goes, just 10? And they said, how about you? And he goes, we hold 10,000 people. And so he got a chuckle out of that. He exchanged merch and other things, and then y'all went on about his way. But he loved traveling. He loved his family. He loved learning all the time. When he was in District 4, one of his colleagues said that early on, when credit card skimming was really becoming a thing, he was on it. Even at the patrol level, he was already being proactive, trying to learn as much as he could about credit card skimming so he could try to put a stop to it in his district. So he was learning. He was learning. He always asked a lot of questions and roll calls, even to the dismay of some of his colleagues, because they'd have roll calls and he'd have, I have one more question, or I have a question. It's like, come on, John, we want to get out of here. And so he was always asking questions, but he liked using that knowledge to teach others. He was a mentor and a teacher for so many that were coming behind him. So he leaves his legacy in all of them. He loved teaching new investigators that came in to our violent crimes unit. He was always helping. He was always a helping friend. I heard from a friend that is not in law enforcement, and he said when he was going through a tough time with his son, that John stepped in to help him navigate that very, very challenging situation, and it meant all the difference in the world, and he helped get him on track. That was the essence of who John was. And I think it's very fitting that even his final act was one of service to others. That day, he stopped to help, to render aid, to see how he could help to prevent further tragedy from happening. And that's what he did. That's what he loved to do. That's what he was all about. I know Rose, his mom, said that as well. That's just the way he was all the time, helping others. And so we honor and salute him for that, for making that ultimate sacrifice. We must all remember tomorrow is not promised, and we must live every day like it is our last, just as Deputy Coddou did. He lived life to the fullest. He was always the life of the party. He enjoyed life. He enjoyed you, Kathleen, and the entire family and his friends. His friends were his family as well. He enjoyed his life, and he was a family man celebrating 11 years of marriage with his life partner, Kathleen. He loved you, Kathleen, and he spoke about you often. He did in our LDI program. I call upon all the members of his unit to remain close and support one another. Check on each other. Check on Kathleen and his family, his mother, sister, his brother, his entire circle, as they continue to mourn and navigate this loss. As we approach National Police Week and honor fallen officers across this nation, I encourage you to continue to keep your faith intact and support each other in this time of grief. Pray for our Sheriff's Office family and rest easy knowing that we will never forget John's service, sacrifice, and dedication to our county. To John's family, know this: here we are today, surrounded by a sea of blue. Our Sheriff's Office family is your family. We will always be here for you. Thank you for sharing John with us and the incredible sacrifice you made every day of his career in public service. To honor Deputy Coddou, let's all take this time to recommit to serving with the same courage, compassion, and dedication. We honor his memory by continuing to answer the call to serve. We honor him by staying the course in the face of today's challenges. Although Deputy Coddou may no longer physically be among us, his legacy lives on, guiding us in the continued pursuit of justice and service to all. His legacy lives on, and his sacrifice will live on in our collective memory. May God bless John's soul. May God bless John's family and friends. May God bless the Harris County Sheriff's Office and all law enforcement and first responders. In life, he guarded the streets of this county, and in death, he guards the heavenly gates. Well done, John. We'll take the watch from here.
Good afternoon. My name is Ryan Hiltz, and for those that don't know me, I'm an investigator with the Sheriff's Office, and I've had the pleasure of working with John for the last 12 years. First, as we're both assigned to the West District Patrol Unit, as well as in the Violent Crime Unit. I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to come out and join us in remembering John. and what a great deputy, investigator, husband, and friend he was. Look around the room and I can't help but see what a perfect example of John, what the type of person that he was. John had an amazing gift of gab. He could make a friend out of anybody. It seemed like no matter where we went, Houston, Harris County, Concan, Texas, John always knew somebody. When I first came to the sheriff's office, I started in the West District Patrol on evening shift where John was assigned. If you had the pleasure of meeting John, you knew what that experience was. After the first 30 minutes, you're wondering what kind of energy drinks this guy's having. And then he turned around and tell you, I don't drink that crap. He only drinks Spark. The more I got to know John, I learned what an avid outdoorsman he was and what a deep passion for both hunting and fishing that he had. That's what I think really kind of drew us to connect and bond. We both shared a great passion for the outdoors as well as law enforcement. John had that same passion that he had for doing fishing and outdoors as he did in law enforcement. And he really, truly found his calling after transferring to the violent crime unit. John was great at his job. He took not only an interest in his cases, but was always willing to help one of his coworkers with theirs as well. John had a philosophy that no one works a case by themselves, that within that office, they're a family, and if one person had a case, John was going to be right there involved, helping them with it. John was that guy that you could always count on to be assisting everybody, whether, like I said, it was another investigator in his office, or deputy pulled over on a traffic stop, taking the time where others didn't have to, where he didn't have to stop and make sure that that unit had a backup unit. Or you could guarantee that if he was working an extra job, he had that radio on, listening to see if what next call was dropping, whether he could respond to help. I remember in 2022, I was working a robbery crew. It was targeting different smoke shops, bouncing back and forth between the Sheriff's Office West District and Northwest District. And one Thursday, they end up doing a robbery, and John calls me immediately and said that he would take the first location and go out there and start getting the information so that I could go and start working to get the information from the second location. While he was doing that, he not only took the time to meet with that victim and get that information, but John went ahead and went and started checking other businesses for me and trying to find whatever surveillance video he could to help. That proved to be that he found some surveillance video from another store that captured the suspect vehicle that they were using that day. He was able to relay that information. We were able to go and get eyes on the car that we knew that they had been using in the past and watch them switch from the car they used that day back to the known vehicle. We were able to successfully take them into custody, recovering the property that was stolen and getting 3 people in custody that had been involved in multiple aggravated robberies in Harris County. And I fully contribute John's dedication, that him responding to that and taking over that first scene for me and being able to relay that information played a critical role in getting those guys off the street. That's just one example of how John was always willing to jump in and help. Aside from getting to call John a coworker, I had the pleasure of being able to share John's passion for the outdoors with him. Like I said before, he was passionate, but if not more than law enforcement, it came to the hunting and fishing. John and I have spent the last 6 years hunting together, and more recently, the past 2 seasons being on the same deer lease. He was always always, and everybody will know this, out looking to explore. He's out, got a new camera, and he's going to be putting up a new camera or moving one to a new spot, trying to capture that new best spot that he could. When we discussed the upcoming weekend trip to the lease, John and I'd be talking, and mind you, we're still a week away from heading to the lease. And I guarantee during that call, John would ask whether I started packing yet. And I'd tell him no, and that we still have several days before we're going to leave, at which point he would inform me that I was behind, and he had already packed his truck and was ready to go. There was one thing you could count on. If you didn't have something, John probably had extras and was more willing to make sure that you were taken care of. Leading up to the days we would go to the lease, John would start planning the meals, and he was going to take to the trip there, which meant there was going to be extras, and John was going to want you to come over and eat what he had made, especially when he brought his taco soup. That was just John's character, planning and making sure not only that he was covered with what he needed, but whoever else was going to be there, that they'd be covered too. A few years ago, I had the pleasure of nominating and writing John a letter to attend the Sheriff's Office Leadership Development Institute program. I remember one of the things that came to mind when writing John's nomination letter was his character and how it represents everything that the program stood for and being a leader from where you are. John had a servant's heart in his career, with his friends, with his family, and most of all with Kathleen. I will truly miss the 4 p.m. phone calls during the week from you asking, "What are you doing?" Let me know I should be heading home rather than sitting in the office still. Or the random calls to let me know the new thing you found on sale at Academy. I'm thankful for the good times that we got to have. And for being a true friend to me, my family. Kathleen, I thank you for sharing such a great man with us when I know you wish that he was home with you at times. John, you're missed. And I will be looking forward
Oh shoot. Guess we're not gonna get the gun. Guess we'll hear the gun. Huh? Yeah. Guess I could run over there, but I don't know when they're gonna do it. We may have to go down to get the folding. Mars, you want to step down?
I'll be all right there.
Well, you can't get the folding and any of that. It's going to be behind all these people.
Is this what they want?
Everybody from the sidewalk this way, if we get you to shift to the parking lot.
Where's Deputy Bill? I'm gonna ease down there a little. Can we just a little? Where's?
Everybody shift
Let me call her.
grassy area or the parking lot. Right here.
Oh, good. We're gonna turn this way when there's people around.
Thank you so much.
You'll have the best spot.
Yes. You're in the line of fire.
Oh, I won't be in the line of fire. I don't want to be in nobody's shot.
Y'all happen to know what They're a little bit blocked by all the deputies, so you might want to take their Facebook Live for the flag folding and all that. Period. I have a good shot of the gun, I think.
Is this your bag? Hi, everybody. We can get you all to move over into the parking lot area. That's one good. Oh, that's in this area to move over into the parking lot area. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, we're not gonna be able to see anything from here. Does anybody see Giselle? Where? What do you need? I need to find out. We can't see anything. Can we get in front of that vehicle or something? spell it out? She's saying she's not seeing it, but...
Retired to unit number.
All units stand by for the last call to honor unit 60 Victor 23. All units please stand by for the last call to honor unit 60 Victor 23. Unit 60 Victor 23 checking. Unit 60 Victor 23 checking. Houston checking on unit 60 Victor 23.